Alors, bonjour tout le monde. Good morning, everybody. And Paul, thank you very much for asking me to moderate this session. Before introducing our panelists, I just wanted to provide a couple of thoughts on our experience at my organization, the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario, our experience with Blueprint 2020, and two or three brief thoughts about leadership before I run through brief bios of our speakers. And so I also wanted to mention that I'm the chair of the Ontario Federal Council, which brings together federal colleagues across the region. And we also held a number of conversations with council members and have sent in a report from that broader cross-departmental perspective, as well as one from my own organization. Alors, pour nous, notre événement le plus spécial était FedDev Talks. We launched a friendly, competitive public speaking competition, loosely based on TED Talks, and we unleashed the creativity in our organization. And we had competitions in every branch, leading to finalists and finally the Devi Awards. This event was really well received by staff who said thank you for letting us be creative. I wanted to just share, though, that for me, doing the FedDev Talks was a little bit like a special event at the GCWCC. They're great, but the real secret of engagement is like a steady payroll deduction. We want it to be happening all the time, and I think for us, our philosophy coming through the BP 2020 experience is that just the ongoing way of being in the organization should be continual engagement on all of the things we work on. For me, it's easy. I run a small agency, and I have the ability to meet face-to-face with my staff, all the staff, every quarter at roundtables. So I can actually be the water cooler lady with the staff on a regular basis. For larger organizations, it's going to be a different kind of structure they use, but one size does not fit all on engagement. The important thing is it should be business as usual. So let me just share a couple of thoughts. I don't know if any of you are Monty Python fans, but I'd like to practice my alliteration on you. First of all, I think that for leaders today, one of the most important roles is to be a communicator of context. And that it means on all the kinds of initiatives that are going on in the public service, centrally driven, but also things within departments. Secondly, I think you need to be a nimble navigator. You are actually steering the ship as the overall navigator of what you are doing and what you are leading. But you do have to navigate a number of tensions in the workplace, and some of those are spoken and some of those are unspoken. Alors, le réactif quotidien, les fichiers et les dossiers chauds et urgents de même que la réflexion et l'élaboration d'idées plus approfondies à long terme, le cynicisme et l'optimisme, la participation et l'apathie, et aussi le carotte et le bâton. You have to manage all of this wherever you are leading in the public service, and therefore navigation, I think, is an important skill. The other one is to be a teachable and a timely teacher, and this really means being somebody who continually learns and grows no matter how senior you may be in the system. And a lot of this is really about listening, être à l'écoute, and I think that if we really think about it, a hugely important piece of engagement is the listening before we start to actually speak ourselves. And I'm really pleased to see the reverse mentoring taking hold in the public service. And Andrew has his reverse mentor, Aaron, here with him today. And I think this is fantastic, particularly for those of us who really do have to learn more about the technology and the way we work in the modern public service. Alors, je crois que ça, c'est une tendance très intéressante et très importante aujourd'hui. And so now, finally, being a motivational magnet, this is all about inspiration, encouragement, recognizing that you need to connect with people. You need a variety of relationships in many venues to make things happen. And you have to find ways to keep yourself personally engaged and motivated. Enthusiasm really matters in the leader. It's contagious, and so is the reverse. So I always go back to my early career selling Avon to get myself through teacher's training, and believe me, enthusiasm mattered. And so now with that, let's plug in to what promises to be an electrifying panel. And I'm going to start by introducing our first speaker. I'm going to introduce all three quickly. Louise Livonian, Associate Deputy Minister, Department of Finance, and Chair of the Subcommittee on Public Service Engagement. Louise has held several positions in the Department of Finance before the current one, including Senior Assistant Deputy Minister, Tax Policy Branch, General Director Analysis, Tax Policy, and Director of Business Income Tax. She's also worked at the Privy Council Office as Director of Operations and Planning, and she worked for KPMG Barron's Group as a tax consultant. Louise graduated from Queen's University in 1990 with a Master of Arts in Economics, majoring in Public Finance and Industrial Organization. Louise est également titulaire d'un baccalauréat en économie avec haute distinction de la Carleton University. Our second speaker is Andrew Troish. In December 2012, Andrew Troish was appointed Commissioner of the Canada Revenue Agency. Andrew was born in Saskatoon and grew up in Winnipeg. He received a BA Honours and MA degrees from the University of Manitoba in 1976 and 1978, and his principal field of study was political studies. He began his PhD at Queen's University in 1979 when he was selected as a Canadian parliamentary intern, and that's what brought him to Ottawa. Andrew's career began with the public service in the early 80s. He joined the Department of Finance in 1984, moved to the Privy Council Office, Treasury Board, and the Department of Human Resources and Skills Development Canada, with positions of increasing responsibility. Andrew was appointed Associate Deputy Minister of Environment Canada in June 2008, and later Associate Deputy Minister of Public Works and Government Services Canada. Currently, Andrew is the Government of Canada's Federal Deputy Ministry Champion at Memorial University of Newfoundland, and he is the President of the Institute of Public Administration of Canada. And finally, Kevin Leahy, our Chair for the National Managers Community in the Public Service of Canada. Kevin was raised in St. John's, Newfoundland, where he attended university and worked with the private sector prior to joining the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in 1992. Following graduation from the Training Academy in March of '93, Kevin worked at increasing ranks in PEI, Newfoundland, and New Brunswick. Kevin became involved with the National Managers Community in 2008 et a ensuite intégré le conseil exécutif de la CNG à l'automne 2009, lorsqu'il a accepté le poste de président du comité directeur du Nouveau-Brunswick. Il est devenu président de la Communauté nationale des gestionnaires en octobre 2012. So I'm going to pass the mic on now. Whether she's going to sit or stand, I don't know, but I will welcome Louise Livonian. Louise.